they have to put in. And that's, you know, and I'm okay with that process. I'm not okay with all of this.
Commissioner Curley, Commissioner
Well, I'll
Robbins.
give you the free breakfast from the hotel.
The first thing I want to say is, you know, what the heck, this is mind numbing, the things we have to do. You know, let's all reflect on just for a moment. Let's all reflect for a moment the reason we're eating Ruidosa is to save money for the state because we don't want to pay more for rooms in Santa Fe on Indian working weekend. We are very mindful of taxpayer money. We're in Ruidosa. There is no one from the public in our room because we're not near anybody and we did this to save money. All right, so and based on the logic that they're okay over the 215, you know what, I'm gonna book my room. I was gonna wait because I want to talk to you, Felicia, because I want to try to, I know that I was one of those off-calls last year and I'm so sorry for the problems I caused, but I'm not gonna be, I am not the person this year. I am not. And, but I am gonna book my room because I'm looking at the Hilton in Minneapolis, because I don't feel like booking a hotel where I can walk 6 blocks if I want to go to my room. And it was $245. I was perfectly willing to pay the other $30 a day. So that I don't have, so that my room's close by to the conference. And so now what I'm hearing, and correct me if I'm wrong, because it makes no sense to me. That the state is just willing to pay the $245, even though the cap might be $252. That's the part one. And the part two is the hotel cap the same out of state as it is here in. And it could be on the chart here, on the paper, it doesn't say what the hotel room cap is.
So I could barely hear you, but on part one, that is just the information that was relayed to me from AP, is that if it is a specialized area, Santa Fe, Rio Doso, I believe there was like another place in New Mexico and also out of state, they said it is just very difficult to come by that 215 rule. But we're gonna reimburse you whatever you pay.
Okay, so if I do stay at the Hilton in Minneapolis, you're gonna reimburse, because if it's $245 as the base rate, God, after they add the lodger's tax and the local sales tax, it's probably be closer to like $265. What I'm hearing you say is that I'm gonna go home tonight and book in that room. And that you guys, and I don't care if you don't take care of it, but I'm hearing you say that you will take care of it. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Thank you very much. The second question I was, is the 215 rate, does that apply to out of state as well as in state?
That is correct, yes.
Thank you. The other question I have, because I ran into this, and it was a nightmare, and I had to do this whole affidavit nonsense. Because this is a conference we had in Memphis or something. When I ordered, the alcohol was on the same physical check as I know what a nightmare that was. Does alcohol have to be completely like not present anywhere? Last night, actually, I paid for it separately because I knew the problem was problem. Is that still the case? Alcohol cannot appear on the check.
Yeah, so it is a recommendation that you do not consume alcohol on the same receipt that you're requesting reimbursement. If it is, at that point, we would just have to ask. I believe what I was told is you would just strike through it and say you are not requesting reimbursement for the beverage.
Okay. You know, in the past, they wouldn't let me even strike through it because I was writing on the receipt, which is verboten. So I've learned no matter what, I'm just always going to have alcohol separate, paper separate, everything separate. When I said stop drinking, that's not going to happen. And because it's always covered. I'm the victim, it's cocktails are in 5 points. Okay. So then when I'm done with this, and when it's time to do the travel for Minneapolis, I'll talk to you. So I make sure I do everything correctly and quickly. So
Okay.
Thank you very much for all of your assistance. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Commissioner Robbins.
As I mentioned to Felicia, I sent her the administrative code. I pull it right from the compilation commission and sent it to her. So the $6 is for other non-receipted items. But on the travel, at the two agencies I was at, we came up with guidelines that comported with the administrative code and with DFA recommendations, that generally what we did was we asked travelers to just give us 3 quotes of hotel rooms in the area, reasonable, not the resorts, because you could go to the Greenbrier and pay $500 a night, but you don't have to go to the Greenbrier if you're going to go to Virginia, but it was a reasonable thing. And again, the reason why DFA says the agency head or, the commission chair or whatever, someone approved that, is because a lot of times you can get government rates. I mean, I've stayed in places where the going rate was $260 a night, but the government rate was $180 a night. And so a lot of times all you have to do is show them your card, your business card from the PEC, and they give you the government rate. I mean, I've even traveled on non-state business, and they gave me a government rate because I was an employee at the time or a commissioner, and they say, oh, we'll give you the government rate anyway. So you can usually save considerable if you ask for the government rate. But again, as Commissioner Carrillo said, be respectful that we're using the dollars that the charters have given us, and we need to be conscientious of doing that. You can stay in Santa Fe and pay $300 a night for some rooms, and other places you can stay and it's going to cost you less than 150. So it's a matter of, just being respectful. We always requested 3 quotes, and then, we didn't ask you to stay at a 1 or 2 star hotel. A 3-star was fine. 5 stars, we didn't, we had some people who quoted Tamaya as one of their quotes, and it's like, no, that's 20 miles away from where you have to be anyway, so that's not going to be an acceptable quote to use. But you can come up with guidelines, and again, the PEC can come up with their own guidelines, as Felicia said. They will do whatever we submit, but I think it would be respectful if we would come up with some guidelines of what is reasonable in excess of standard rates. And obviously, if you go to an area and you're going to try to stay within a half mile or within a few blocks, and the best rate you can get is $300 a night, well, that's what it is. Give them the quotes and take it. Because I know it's gotten very expensive for hotels and travel, as we mentioned earlier in our budget. So again, I think we just need to be respectful of the school's monies that we're spending, and not try to just go overboard. And I don't think anyone would do that, but I think if we have some general guidelines, it might help.
All right. Okay. Maybe final word.
We never know. I don't know that Felicia here or there from my Colombo. You never watched Colombo, but what states, man? The whole thing about Colombo is the very last second of the show, it says, oh, by the way, and that's when he's solving the crime at the end of the last one. I was with a colleague recently, and they said that they were admonished for ordering, and they were not reimbursed because they ordered, what was the dish? It was like a bourbon marinated chicken. But because on the receipt it said bourbon chicken, they were not reimbursed for their meal. And is that the case too? Because that's a little bit. Yeah, I support chicken shrinking. It makes for much more flavor.
Yeah, so I was given that example when I first started as well, that if it does state like tequila tacos or bourbon chicken, that DFA might fight against it. But I believe as long as it is a food item and it does state something additional to the, that wording, you would be fine. And if needed, we can provide that affidavit giving you permission to use that receipt.
Or affidavits. So I promise that I won't write in where I get shots of tequila. I won't write chicken next to the tequila. Because I'm not allowed to write on the receipt. It's not, okay, I'm just being a horse's ass. But I just want to check on the bourbon thing, because let's face it, that's the descriptor on a lot of menus that appears on a receipt.
Yeah.
So, okay, thank you. And I can go on forever on this one. I won't.
All right. Anything else, Felicia or Director Chavez?
I just wanted to restate that I would like the reimbursements to be submitted within the 2 weeks after the trip. So if you guys could definitely work on submitting those as soon as possible, that would be awesome.
Thank you, Felicia. I don't have anything else, Chair Burt.
Great, because it's after 5:03 and I'm starting to call Commissioner weird names now.
Maybe tomorrow, Commissioner Miller.
Oh, okay, yeah, so this is something I very recently learned that, I'm very grateful that Commissioner Gibson just like threw it out there, like everybody knew, and I was like, wait, what? One thing that everyone should know, which I'm grateful to find out, is there is, now I feel silly saying it, 'cause maybe it is common knowledge and I'm saying it like it's a revelation, but there is a DocScan app that you can log into your PEC account from. So you can actually submit your reimbursement form from your phone. You don't even have to be on your computer. So you can just go into the app, log into your PEC account, get to that form, submit it from your phone. And then when it's your turn to sign, you get push notifications to your phone. So that's a helpful thing too, because I know sometimes that I feel like I do a pretty good job submitting the reimbursements, but then I won't see that I need to sign for a day or two. So that could also be some way that could help the process go faster for you as well. So just in case you didn't know, there's a DocuSign app. There it is. Okay. The last item is virtual school subcommittee update. Commissioner Gibson was. All right, Commissioner Gibson, thank you.
Real quick. Thanks to Sam once again, because she's doing all of the work for us. We throw out questions, we need this information, and Sam's going back and getting information. I think we're closer than we certainly were before, and getting ready to make recommendations. Commissioner Frio, when we were talking about, I think it was SEL or CLR, family engagement. And the question, what about virtual schools? And that is one of the things that we have looked at. So I think we're pretty close to being able to make recommendations on possible directions for policies, and then even look at, because you've mentioned before, there's two different things we're looking at. What do we do with existing schools, and do we look at, does the commission look at, do we have enough virtual opportunities already, and do we need any more? And do we want to look at that as a separate issue in terms of new applications? And making a decision on moving forward with any future applications and virtual models and what that might look like. But it's two separate entities. So I don't promise next month, but I think before the end of this year, I think there will be recommendations out, which isn't too far down the road.
All right, any questions from the commission? All right, with that, we will adjourn for today. We will see everyone tomorrow at 9 a.m. Thank you.